Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Curran, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money. Grant Mitchell. Sports are very lonely right now. Not a ton to talk about, but we're still finding things to talk about. And you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money, Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I could always be doing worse. I don't want to sound ungrateful. I don't know what it's like up where you are. It is miserable here. It was 104 yesterday. It's like 80-90% humidity. I went out to put the trash out at 6:20 this morning, and it felt like it was already 80 degrees, 80% humidity. I mean, seriously, from the walk from the garage to the bottom of the driveway, I was sweating by the time I got back inside.
I don't mind that, though, because I like the fact that you can just stay inside all day and not sweat.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, for people like us who, work from home, it's nice, but like on the weekends, I mean, so my girlfriend's parents are coming to stay with us. They get here on Thursday, they'll be here until Tuesday. So like they're going to want to go out, want to go see monuments in DC and just be outside, like go to bars, stuff like that. It's just miserable. I mean, I don't know how your body handles heat, but me, I sweat a lot. On the bright side, that means my body does what it's supposed to. It does a good job of cooling me off, but my shirts get ruined. I look hideous within 5 minutes of stepping outside.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part. If you take a shower or something, then you're forced to go back outside. You can get a little sweaty. That's why you got to wear dark clothes. You don't see the sweat.
That's the interesting dilemma. And I've been asked that before because when it gets hot, I do wear dark clothes. And people are like, that's just going to make you hotter. And I say, yeah, but you're not going to see that. My clothes are ruined.
No, that's a fake news. That's fake news. That if you wear dark clothes, it like doesn't it absorbs the sun or reflects the sun, whatever. You see the people in the desert, they wear the black robes. You see that? They wear
I'm
white too.
not familiar with the desert garb. No.
Okay, well, it's fake news because it doesn't make you that much hotter. Like, let's be real. If you're outside in 100 degrees, it doesn't matter if you're in white or black. Like, you're still going to be hot.
Yeah, it's going to be hot. But at least one, you can't see that I'm sweating through the shirt.
You know who's hot right now?
I'm sensing a really good transition here. Who's hot?
Well, us, but the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the most boring, literally the most boring NBA champions of all time. We're not going to talk a lot about today. We're actually ranking quarterbacks today. We're talking about win totals in the NFC North. So if you like football, hang around here. But we should just touch on it. Oklahoma City Thunder, they are the worst NBA champions of all time. This year's Celtics team would have absolutely murdered this team, Grant. Healthy.
So me and my buddies, this was the first time in NBA history, or this is the first time in NBA history that there have been 7 different champions in a 7-year span. And me and my buddies yesterday, we were ranking what we thought of those 7 champions. And we had disagreement on who the number 1 teams were. We had disagreements on like 4, 5, 6, 7. But all of us had the Celtics from last year ahead of the Thunder from this year.
Not even close. Like, just because the Thunder couldn't make 3-pointers. And honestly, they struggled with the TJ McConnell Pacers. They were not great until the second half. Not great.
I mean, some of that I don't think is necessarily a reflection of their team. I think some of it had to do with just youth and nerves and inexperience in that moment. But that stuff does still matter when you're talking about dominant champions. There's a difference between talking about how good is a team and how good is a champion.
Yeah, now the Celtics pulled off a great trade yesterday. Jrue Holiday's out. Anfernee Simons is in. Got some second-round picks as well. But I will stand on this, that if the Boston Celtics, they fumbled an amazing opportunity this year. It would have been hard, I think, to get by the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, the way Indiana was playing and all their momentum and stuff. But if they matched up with the Oklahoma City Thunder this year, they would have blown their freaking doors off because OKC was nervous. They couldn't make threes, and Boston would not have been nervous. And most likely at some point in that series, they would have made a lot of threes.
You know what's funny about that Anfernee Simons trade? That's the second time that the Blazers traded for Jrue Holiday. They traded for Jrue Holiday, and they sent Dame Lillard to the Bucks. I forget if it was a buyout or another trade that then got Jrue Holiday to Boston. But like they've traded this same dude for the same dude twice, and it cost them their whole starting backcourt. And I'll be honest, Jrue Holiday was a phenomenal player, multi-time champion. Got nothing bad to say about his career. I don't think he's currently better than Anfernee Simons. He's 9 years older than him. He costs more money. And the Blazers did a 1-for-1 and gave up 2 picks. I don't understand what they're doing.
That was a terrible trade. It was for the Blazers. It was a terrible trade.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, maybe they reached the decision that they weren't going to win anything with Anfernee Simons, and that's fine. That's fair enough. But like, go get the proper value. Again, no disrespect to Jrue Holiday, but it's a 35-year-old who's been declining for a long time and is costing a ton of money. And this Blazers roster still makes no sense. I mean, they've got a million centers. You trade for a 35-year-old point guard when you drafted Scoot Henderson to be the point guard of your future a couple of years ago. Is he going to be a backup for Jrue Holiday now? And Jeremy Grant is a guy who does not fit your timeline, but he has immense value to contenders. It seems like there's no structure. There's no focus over in Portland.
Well, I mean, no disrespect to Jrue Holiday, but he's trash at this point. Like we saw, he's done. He's over the hill.
Yeah, I mean, he can still be a good defensive player, and the Blazers want to make defense their identity, but they're already a top 5 defense last year. So what are you really going to benefit with him? I don't know.
The problem is too, the Celtics don't expose players. Like Jrue Holiday never had to be anything close to the guy. He could just play defense. He didn't have to score if he didn't want to. It helped knocking down some shots. Don't get me wrong. But if he didn't score, that was okay. Boston had guys who could score. He could just go in there and play defense. Now you're going to a situation where you don't have a bunch of studs around you in a situation like the Boston Celtics. So I don't understand what GMs think half the time. Not only here, we go back to the Luka Doncic trade. We go to the Rafael Devers trade. Like, what do GMs think? Because this is clearly not a fair trade. And I don't know what you can't build around Jrue Holiday. He's got a few years left, maybe. So you just can't build around that guy. And you're giving up your future picks, not now their second round picks, but you're still giving up picks, people you could potentially build around, find a gem for a guy who's 35. And then you gave away Anfernee Simons, who's already better than Jrue Holiday at this point.
Yeah, and Simons, again, he might not be the player to take you over the top, but I'll be honest, for a Boston team that they're different from a team that loses its star player to injury. Like, Boston doesn't want to tank next year. They're going to retool the roster. Obviously, they just got rid of Jrue Holiday. Porzingis is probably on his way out. But if you can get pieces that complement Jaylen Brown and Derek White, you could still be a good team, especially with, Dame Lillard having the torn Achilles, Halliburton having the torn Achilles, the 76ers completely just falling apart. The conference is kind of still open for Boston to win, even with Tatum tearing his Achilles. Anfernee Simons, not a super efficient player overall, only shot 43% from the field for his career, but he does shoot 38% from 3. Basically, all the shots he takes are threes. That's exactly what Boston wants to do. Averaged 19 points per game last year. Not going to be an amazing facilitator, but nobody on Boston really is. It's about getting quick threes, played in transition, keeping the tempo. And that's exactly what Simons does. And he's a great three-point shooter. So I think it's actually I know some people are worried about maybe when Tatum comes back, how's the ball going to move around between Brown and Simons and White and Tatum. But you don't need to worry about that right now. And for right now, I think it works very well.
Realistically, if the Boston Celtics don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals next season, it's a disappointment. They had a bad season with how the conference looks like right now. I mean, you got the Cavaliers, who are probably leaps and bounds better than everybody else. The Knicks don't have a coach. They're good, obviously, but they don't have a coach. The Orlando Magic are still young. I think this iteration of the Boston Celtics could beat the Magic in a 7-game series, no problem. Then you go Sixers, Pacers, obviously. Indiana just suffered the Tyrese Halliburton blow there. By the way, too, I mean, the way Pascal Siakam disappeared, they're not doing anything next year without Tyrese Halliburton.
Well, I mean, all that being considered, they were still winning at halftime of Game 7. Don't forget.
Till Pascal Siakam disappeared in the second half and didn't do anything. Like, he showed up for a little bit.
Right, but there's a difference between winning the NBA Finals and still being a very good team in the Eastern Conference.
There is, but I would still put Boston ahead of them next year with the talent that they have.
Well, I think the better way to look at it is Cleveland's kind of the heavy favorite if you look at betting odds. After that, I think there are just a ton of teams that are like, they could convince themselves we're there to play in the Eastern Conference. We're there as the number 2 team. That would be the Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, Pistons, Magic. I'll put the Hawks in there. 76ers if they're healthy. And the roster doesn't look great. I don't love any of it, but the Bucks do have Giannis, and that's kind of a trump card in certain matchups.
Yeah, the Eastern Conference is wide open. Like if you told me the Celtics are going back to the NBA championship next year, I'd be slightly surprised, but not overly surprised because both teams don't have the luxury of having a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They only have one of those guys. So now you got Jaylen Brown. Derek White's a certified star. Anfernee Simons is going to help. You got good role players. I mean, they're in business. So I'm looking forward to basketball next year. It should be good. Problem is, Grant, season's way too long. It's hard to care that long.
Well, see, I mean, you spent the whole playoffs complaining they were taking too long, and now we get to here where we've got nothing for months.
Yeah, but also, too, we're getting into football season. You watch UFC, Grant? You should watch UFC.
I do watch UFC. I do. I'm not a diehard fan in any way, but I watch the big fights.
317 is going to be a pretty good pay-per-view coming up this weekend. So there's stuff to do. He just doesn't. We got the W.
We do have the W.
We got the W. A lot going on in the W right now. I feel like the W kind of lost all their momentum.
They did.
Big time.
There was no plot development, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, Angel Reese sucks. Like I'm gonna throw it out there right now. She's not good at basketball. Like she is good at basketball relative to some people when it comes to rebounding and assists, but like she cannot score. I want to be fair here. I want to be fair with my assessment of Angel Reese. Angel Reese is not the second. If she is, that's scary, but she's not the second best player in the league to a point where we can say that she has the Caitlin Clark rivalry going. We go back to college when we had the whole Iowa, LSU, all that clapping in the face. Like, legitimately, there are girls in college basketball who cannot score. Like, if you watch a WNBA game, the product is not great all the time. I think it's honestly better in college, but knowing that they're not professionals, it's obviously easier for Angel Reese to dominate the college landscape than it is the professional landscape. So that rivalry developed. That rivalry died in the WNBA because Caitlin Clark is just better than everybody else. So we don't have that. The Sophie Cunningham, I mean, she's a hell of a storyline right now. But like people are going to stop caring there now. And then what? Now what?
I wish I knew what it was about. I saw she's leading some sort of like campaign about something. I don't know what it's for. I'll go look at it after the show.
I mean, she gained like 600,000 followers on TikTok just for slamming that girl to the ground.
I believe it. It went viral.
It did. No, I mean, and she's attractive too. That definitely helps. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to the W. The Commissioner's Cup's July 1st, Grant. You going to be watching?
Of course.
There you go. All right. So let's talk football. WSN.com, the World Sports Network, the best place to get your sports betting news. We got baseball every day too. We can't forget. We're going to be talking some baseball on the show as well.
Talk about a season that's too long.
No, that's not too long though. They can play 162 because their bodies don't break down playing 160. You can get fatties like Rafael Devers playing 150 games and be fine. Meanwhile, you got all these guys in the NBA playing 30 games and tearing their Achilles.
I just meant it's hard to keep up a level of interest. You go on a 7-game winning streak from game 41 to 47, and now you've got 120 games left in your season.
If you're a fan, though, if you actually enjoy baseball, it's not like I can sit there and watch the Red Sox every night and get angry at the Red Sox every single night.
Well, that's being a fan of any team. You can always get angry at your team.
But at least like with baseball, like I know, okay, hey, I'm the Red Sox. Like I want to make the playoffs. They need to win today. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts. If they don't win their Garrett Crochet start against the Los Angeles Angels tonight, and we go back under 500, they're in trouble. Like this is a must-win game for them. So I can say that as a fan, but if you're not a fan of baseball, it's tough. Also, the World Sports Network has all the baseball previews. You can still win money on baseball, Grant. So that's another reason. This is the best time. You don't want to use your own money when you get to football season. You want to use the house money. And that's where the World Sports Network can help you win money with baseball picks every day of the week.
Great plug. Yep. Go on over to WSN.com. You'll find picks from Tanner in the baseball world, a whole team of experts giving out picks for games, player props, futures bets as well. And also whether you're betting on FanDuel, DraftKings, Bet365, pretty much whatever it is, we do have promo codes for sports books. So you can get things like bonus bets, profit boosts, sometimes parlay insurance, whatever the case may be. You will find it all at WSN.com.
And subscribe to the podcast because we ride here every Tuesday and Friday. No, it doesn't matter what's going on. There's not a lot going on in sports world right now. We're still showing up. We're talking football. We're getting you excited. We got a lot of football content coming up. We got college football, NFL. We got the W. We'll talk a little W when Caitlin Clark's trending. We got baseball. We got basketball news. We're going to talk a lot here on the show.
Yeah, 100%. Take it on over to football.
Okay, so Grant and I have decided to rank our top 10 quarterbacks. So we're going to go through. I think we should go name for name, just like 1, 2, 3.
Well, I just want to say this was my idea, and I wanted to do it because I have seen Yahoo Sports put out a couple of top 10 quarterback rankings, and they have just blown my mind with how bad I think they are. And they were co-signed by Steven Ruiz, who is a guy that's got a big name. He co-signed both of them, said great lists, and I didn't like them at all. So I wanted to actually put pen to paper, see what mine looked like, see what yours looked like. Like, I don't know if I'm going crazy, but my list looks very different from some of the ones I'm seeing floating around out there.
Here's the problem too with the top 10 lists, like top 10 best quarterbacks. Like, what makes a great quarterback? Because I can make the case to you that I will take Baker Mayfield over a lot of quarterbacks, because he's a dog. And I need that dog in there. Like, some quarterbacks are in the top 10. They don't have the dog in them, but they're still, like, if you talk about just a great quarterback, they are a great quarterback. So I think that's what makes the rankings tough.
So I would say normally you go from like 10 to 1, but the problem, I think everybody knows who the top 4 are. They might be in a different order, but everyone knows the top 4. So why don't we start at 1 and then we can work down?
All right. Number 1, if you don't have Patrick Mahomes as your best quarterback in the NFL, there's something wrong with you. No matter what list it is, I don't care what it's ranked by. Patrick Mahomes, by far, best quarterback in the NFL. Yes.
Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Yep.
All right. Number 2, I put Joe Burrow.
Put Lamar Jackson.
All right. Well, Lamar Jackson hasn't won a bag of peanuts in the NFL, so I don't think you can do that.
Well, the biggest difference between them really is Joe Burrow winning that AFC Championship game versus Lamar Jackson losing. I think, has he lost 2 or is it just 1? I can't remember. I think it might just be 1. But that's the big difference. And when you look at Lamar Jackson has had some better regular seasons, got 2 MVPs. Burrow's got none. Burrow's had the benefit of having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Lamar Jackson has not. And also, Lamar can hurt you in more ways than Burrow can. If you value playoff success that greatly, then I can understand. But it's not like Burrow won a Super Bowl. He just won a conference championship, whereas Lamar was in that conference championship. He just lost it. So I'm going to put Lamar there. And I'll be honest, if we go to next year and the Ravens win the Super Bowl, and Mahomes continues to kind of play the way he did the last year or the year before, you could start to have the conversation, is Lamar the best in the NFL ahead of Mahomes? But right now I got him number 2.
Well, let me start by saying that I think I agree with you there, where if Lamar needs to win in the playoffs for me to put him over the hump, he's got the MVPs. We know that. He should have had another MVP last year. They gave the Haley Steinfeld Participation Award to Josh Allen.
Yep.
But he should have been the MVP last year, no doubt about it. I think my thing with Burrow, like you talk about having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, like that's awesome. He also doesn't have the threat of being able to run. So maybe like call one of those guys like the legs that Lamar Jackson has. Number 2, Lamar Jackson is in a better situation. He's on a team that actually plays defense and values their players. So like what Joe Burrow did last year to me establishes himself as one of those guys. I mean, he's got a coach that literally gambles every 4th down call. He's got no support. He's barely got an offensive line half the time, and he's still putting up MVP numbers. And if that Bengals team had an ounce of defense, they would have been in the mix for a division title last year. So it's really hard to go against Joe Burrow because he's the only guy who's really beaten Mahomes in the AFC.
See, I agree with everything you said there, especially about if he had the defense, he would be in a better position to win games, but his numbers would also be worse if they didn't need to score 40 points every game. The Ravens didn't need to do that, but Lamar was just the total master of everything in that offense.
I don't know. I mean, the Bengals have really not much of a run game. So like, I still think Zach Taylor wants to put up 50 points a game. He is going to go for it on fourth down all night.
I agree, but I'm saying the pressure to do that means that Burrow's going to throw the ball more, and that's going to help his stats.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't you rather have a quarterback saying, "Hey, I got to throw the ball now up 20 points and like not under as much pressure than I need to force everything down the field"?
Oh yeah, definitely. I got Burrow number 3, so
Okay.
we're not really arguing about a ton here. I just think that I think Lamar's been better overall.
Sadly, I put Josh Allen number 3, and I love Lamar.
Got Lamar number 4.
You got to win the playoffs.
Okay, well, what has Josh Allen done in the playoffs?
He just beat Lamar. It's like, Grant, you ever heard of the UFC or UFC fan, right? If you beat the guy for the belt, you take the belt.
Josh Allen did not beat Lamar.
Josh Allen did beat Lamar. Or you could
No,
make the case
Ravens annihilated the Bills last year, and then the Ravens got to the I'm thinking 2 years ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You're
last
right.
year. Yeah. So you strip the belt. When you lose it, you strip the belt. So like that 3-4 can be interchangeable to me. Again, if I'm taking a regular season quarterback, I will take Lamar Jackson any day of the week. Right now, based on what he showed me last year in the playoffs, besides his hot potato play early in the game, I would rather have Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. I think this year is the year that Lamar Jackson breaks out. But until he wins a meaningful playoff game, I can't do it. Can't.
Okay.
They should be 3A and 3B, honestly. They're both regular season stat patters in my mind.
Let's be in that Ravens Bills game. Josh Allen was 16 of 22 for 127 yards, 10 carries, 20 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns.
What did he not do though, Grant? Turn the ball over. He stayed inside himself. I got Lamar not taking care of the football.
You're right there, but I mean, it's not. Josh Allen was not that impressive in that game. His regular season wasn't even that great overall until the end. Like, they gave him the MVP because he stopped throwing interceptions, and he had more interceptions than Lamar.
He should have never been the MVP last year. It should have been Lamar. But I'm talking like, when I want the full package. I want a guy that I know, hey, I bet on this guy in the playoffs. Oh shit, Lamar. I got Lamar tonight. We'll see what happens. We know the turnover's coming. Like, you'll say at some point in the game with Lamar, like when he had that fumble, the interception didn't cost him, but even the interception early in that game against the Bills where he just hucked it up in the air, like, that was dumb too. There's a lot of dumb things he does in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with Josh Allen up until this season, it was the same exact thing. It was like, close your eyes. You don't know if it's a touchdown or an interception for Josh Allen.
This year, he really cleaned it up. And Lamar was fantastic this year. I would put them 3A and 3B. But since Josh Allen just beat Lamar, you can't. If you lose in a title fight, you drop back in the rankings a little bit.
It wasn't really a title fight. It was the divisional round. But
that was, honestly, if the Ravens won that football game, they were a much better team. They were well equipped to win the Super Bowl last year. But Lamar and Mark Andrews, he should have retired. He didn't, I don't think.
No, he didn't.
I couldn't imagine playing football ever again. This man, he sucks.
The Ravens and the Eagles rosters are so much better than everyone else in the NFL. Like, it's not fair.
It's not fair. Like, the Ravens, if the Ravens don't win the AFC this year, especially after the Chiefs dynasty already collapsed last year in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's the start of the ice breaking. And now the next step probably in the storyline is them get to the AFC Championship. They win the divisional round in a tight game over Josh Allen again. Allen loses again, and then Lamar, and then beat their brakes off in the AFC Championship. That would probably be the next development to the storyline. But the Baltimore Ravens by far should win the Super Bowl next year. The fact that the Bills are 7-1 and the Ravens are 7-1 is insane to me.
So drawing on what you said about the dynasty being over, which we've talked about, like we've said it's more likely the Chiefs go 10-7 next year than 15-2. We know Brady won those 3 Super Bowls early in his career, and then he had like a 10-year gap where he didn't have any. Mahomes, he's got his 3. I want to look at what happened. So the Patriots' final Super Bowl in that run, I want to say, was 2004. That was the 3rd in Brady's career.
Yep.
So after that, up until they win the next one, which their next one wasn't until the 28-3 comeback, was it?
No, 28-3. No, Seattle. They beat Seattle.
Oh, you're right. And that was in 2015.
Then it was 28-3.
28-3, yeah.
Then it was the Rams.
Okay, so you've got a gap from 2005 to 2015. The Patriots made the AFC Championship game in 5 of those.
Mahomes is not going to win 4 more Super Bowls. Like, I will stand on that now.
Well, that's not even what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is the Patriots got to the AFC Championship game in less than half of the seasons after that first 3 Super Bowl run. So if we're looking ahead at the next 10 seasons, we would say there should be 2 open spots. The Chiefs will not be there in at least half, if not more than half of those.
This year, I think we're really going to see the Chiefs kind of not downfall, but they're getting old. You got Travis Kelce. He's in probably the last year of his deal. He's not going to play another year, especially if they go out well. They don't have a ton of skill talent. Their skill talent, they like to get in trouble. I mean, they got the Georgia Bulldogs racing team there,
with guns, firearms as well.
Guns, firearms. I just don't. They got beat so bad in the Super Bowl that you saw the formula. If you just get to Mahomes, and their offensive line was so bad, and Philly was ready for that game. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're starting to crumble a little bit. Not saying they're not going to be relevant, but what made Brady so good is like you said, being late in his career, but also going to Tampa and winning a Super Bowl really established Brady as the GOAT. Again, he's still the GOAT if he leaves New England, retires a Patriot, but him going to Tampa, and even being good in the seasons that he didn't win the Super Bowl there, they still had successful seasons. They were playoff teams.
He either got second or third in MVP voting one of those years.
And honestly, I think it was Cooper Kupp. They were playing the Rams in the division round the next year.
And and Stafford had that 60-yard bomb to Kupp.
You don't give that up. They probably win that game, and they're back, and they potentially could be back in the Super Bowl again. So, who knows? But anyways, keep it going here with the rankings.
we knew who the top 4 were.
Number 5 should be no doubt Jalen Hurts.
You're putting Jalen Hurts at number 5.
Yes.
I'm not.
Okay.
And I don't have Hurts coming up for a little bit. I'll talk about Jalen Hurts here. The thing with Jalen Hurts is he's a very limited player. Now, the system he's in, he's actually perfect for it. So you don't see it. And this opens up a conversation about how do you rank quarterbacks? Are you ranking them in how the amount of strengths they have, the amount of weaknesses they have? Are you ranking them in a vacuum? Are you ranking them for what they do? The biggest credit I can give Jalen Hurts, he has shown up in both Super Bowls he's been in. Those have been probably the 2 best games of his career. He's a great deep ball, outside the numbers passer. Because he squats 600 pounds, he can convert a 4th and 1 basically every time. But his reading of the field, his anticipation, his decision-making, not very good. Barely ever throws over the middle of the field. When he does, it's a lot of slants to A.J. Brown. He has the best offensive line in football. Last year had the best running back in football. Got a top 3 receiver and maybe the best wide receiver number 2 in football. So he's in a perfect situation for him to produce. I think we're kind of, a lot of people have fallen victim to looking back at the Super Bowl and thinking how great Jalen Hurts was. In week 13, 14, we were like, what the hell is he doing? Do the Eagles need to find a new quarterback because he's not the guy for them? So I think he does what he's asked to do very well. I think he's also in a perfect situation. He's not asked to do a ton.
It's crazy how bad the Eagles actually looked to start the year last year.
They were 2-2 going in the bye. They were gonna fire Sirianni.
The Bucs beat their ass last year.
Kirk Cousins led the 4th quarter comeback in Philly.
Yeah, no, they were not good. And that's why you got such good value on them. But once they figured it out, they're unstoppable. I will take Jalen Hurts here because Jalen Hurts is a dog. He's that guy. And I know he's a benefit of the system, but is Mahomes a benefit of the system? Yes.
No,
yes.
Not the system has completely changed. When his first year, it was just bombs away.
He's a benefit, with Tyreek, but he's a benefit of having a great coach, a tight end, maybe not last year, but a tight end that's one of the best ever to do it, and a solid run game. Like, that's what he's had. and he's
Solid
benefited.
run game.
They've had a solid run game, Grant. What are you talking about?
They get like 3 yards a carry
But
every
they
year.
stick with it. They stick with it.
That's discipline. That's not a solid running game.
But that's what I'm saying. The benefits of having a good coach and a good system. They know what they do. They stick to it, and that's what they do.
Mahomes is also the most talented thrower of the football, maybe in NFL history.
But
He
they
has
don't need to
demonstrated
do
that he can win by going bombs away. He's demonstrated he can win by checking it down. He makes plays happen outside the pocket. Good line, bad line.
If you stuck Mahomes in Carolina, he would not be as good.
He would be the best quarterback in the NFL.
He would not be as good.
Okay. If you put Jalen Hurts in Carolina, he might be a bottom 10 quarterback.
But that's what I'm saying. The system matters. If you stuck Burrow in Kansas City, Burrow would be better than he is now. He would be in a better seat. We would rank him higher because of his ability to win. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying the benefit of having a good coach in a solid run organization, not that the Chiefs run their organization well, they all hate it there, but the coach matters. The talent he's had around him matters.
It does matter. I'm saying there is a significant drop off if Jalen Hurts goes to the worst team in the league versus if Burrow got drafted to the worst team in the league and he made them great. If Mahomes went to CJ Stroud, made the Texans awesome. If Mahomes was drafted by the Jets, they would have been awesome. That would not have happened with Jalen Hurts.
I don't know if the Jets would have been awesome because they don't have a great coach. That the coach makes such a difference.
The Bengals don't have a great coach. The Texans didn't have a great coach.
Look at the Bengals last year, Grant. They didn't make the playoffs because of their coaching.
5-6 years, they were also in the Super Bowl in Burrow's second year.
But they didn't make playoffs last year in Burrow's best season.
Okay, you see, you're arguing against yourself because you said you valued the playoff success, and that's why you had Burrow at number 2.
I do value the playoff success, especially when their coach is a dumbass. But the system
that's my
matters.
point. The coach is a dumbass.
Yes,
and Burrow
that's what I'm trying to
been
say.
Awesome.
But good systems matter. Good systems matter. Mahomes is in a good system.
But Jalen Hurts is limited.
Keep in mind, Mahomes came into the NFL, Grant. Mahomes came into the NFL. Nobody expected anything from him.
Nobody expected anything from Jalen Hurts.
I know. They're in good systems. That matters. If you're in a good organization that's run well with a good coach, that matters. Mahomes' career, if you stick him in Carolina right away, who knows if he's the same. But he goes to Kansas City with Andy Reid. He gets to sit behind a quarterback. He comes in, got a great coach. Andy Reid's one of the best to ever do it. You have Travis Kelce in his prime. You've had good skill talent there at times. And now they lean on what they do best. They know their game plan. They know what they're going to do going into a game. You also got Steve Spagnuolo, a great defender. You had Steve Spagnuolo, a great defensive coordinator, right? Like you have these things that Mahomes benefits from. So like being in a good system matters.
My number 5. I'll tell you who it is.
You understand what I'm saying? I won this argument, Grant.
No, I understand what you're saying. I totally disagree with the conclusion that Jalen Hurts is the 5th best quarterback.
Oh, he's 100% the 5th best quarterback. If he went to Carolina, I'm not saying he would be the 5th best quarterback, but systems matter. That's what I'm saying. My
number 5, I'm going to preface this with an analogy. All right, Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac are looked at as 2 of the best rappers of all time. They also died when they were in their early 20s. They started great, and then they didn't have the chance to disappoint you. You follow what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Just think of Len Bias. Len Bias was supposed to be one of the best players in NBA history. Gets drafted, dies before he can even step on the court. He's still looked at as an NBA legend, even though he never played there because we never saw it. My number 5 is JAYDEN Daniels. Because
that's insane. That's preposterous.
He was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in the only season we saw him. Next year, he might disappoint us, and he might come down this list. But from what I have seen, he was honestly he was better than Patrick Mahomes last year. You can make an argument he was better than Josh Allen, even though Josh Allen won MVP. He was clearly a top 5 quarterback last year. You look at his skill position in his offensive line, that combination, one of the worst in the league, Terry McLaurin notwithstanding, being the odd man out there. And he's still able to get this team to the NFC Championship game. So I'm not saying that he's there to stay. Like, again, we could get to the end of the year. CJ Stroud was a number 5 in many people's eyes last year because he did have the great rookie year. And then we saw him kind of disappoint us as a sophomore. The same thing could happen. but in the one season I saw, he was clearly a top 5 quarterback.
Jalen Hurts has to be ahead of him, number 1. But number 2, I do have him in my top 10. I think the thing is, going back to our system debate here, him coming into the Commanders was a good system. Cliff Kingsbury helped him a lot. Like Cliff Kingsbury made up for your lackluster offensive line with how he called plays.
Cliff Kingsbury was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but at the start of the year, everybody was saying Cliff Kingsbury is a terrible hire.
Yeah, but he turned out to be a great hire. Like, that's the thing. I mean, and he's going to be a head coach someday. But you look at Dan Quinn. Like, Dan Quinn might have not had the best reputation. He turned out he was a very good motivator. They brought in guys around Jayden Daniels that made him successful. That's what I'm saying. Like, if Jayden Daniels is not in Washington, he may not be the 5th best quarterback on your list. If he goes to, again, I'll use Carolina. If he goes to the New York Jets, if he goes to the New York Giants, is he going to be the 5th best quarterback? Probably not.
I hear what you're saying more so with this one than what you were saying with the Jalen Hurts one. The thing is from a talent perspective, what he was working with Washington is one of the worst in the league. I believe the culture was so strong and the coaching was so good that it did elevate things and allow Jayden to do that. But like you're saying, what about him in Carolina? What about him with the Jets? I could still see him making it work, if not work even better with that talent. The coaching might have been the difference.
Yeah, I think the coaching and the talent, but the talent also elevated themselves. Like, the Commanders did not look like one of the worst talented teams in the NFL, or at least skilled teams in the NFL.
But I can tell you, as someone who religiously watched every second of those games, it was Jayden Daniels working a master class every week and really good coaching.
Good system. There you go. Proves my point.
Who's your number? You said number 5 is Jalen Hurts. Who's your number 6?
Matthew Stafford. Still got it. Still
Okay.
should be here. And again, Jayden Daniels too. Like, he is, again, he's going to be in my top 10. The thing about Jayden Daniels, the issue with him to me is, like, we were saying CJ Stroud was going to be the greatest quarterback ever, and he's nowhere near our top 10 right now.
Okay, so he's in mine.
That's crazy. Especially that's insane. Should not be. But yeah, so Matthew Stafford, obviously he can still do it. He's not going to be doing it for much longer, but considering where he took the Rams from last year, in a spot where they were supposed to just tank, and like we were talking about trading all their skill players away, and now they're back where they are in contention to potentially get to the Super Bowl. Like, this is a team that could come out of the NFC if things go their way. They almost beat the Eagles last year in the snow. That's a situation where I do like Matthew Stafford, number 6 on my list.
So I've got Stafford at number 7 on mine. My number 6 is Justin Herbert. And I wanted to put Stafford ahead of Herbert. I actually had him there at first. The thing with Stafford is we're relying on just kind of how pretty he throws the ball, and because he's won a Super Bowl and these other things. We also have to keep in mind he suffered 1 million injuries in his career. He's going to be 38 this year. His last few seasons haven't been amazing. Last year, he was 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Year before that, he was 24-11. Year before that, he was 10-8, only played 9 games. Like, we're kind of waiting for that when it's the year and it's the Rams' year to make the Super Bowl run. We expect him to be that guy. But after all his injuries, after just being 38 years old, things starting to pile up, you can see him starting to slow down. And I don't think he's going to have that Tom Brady, like, no, I'm going to revert to an MVP candidate. I think he's just kind of slowly in the decline, but it's very slow. But even still, I'm going to put Herbert above him just because younger, I think probably have an equal amount of talent. Herbert's hasn't even won a playoff game, so he's not even close to as accomplished as Stafford. But maybe this is the year that changes. Chargers, if the Chiefs really do fall off, maybe the Chargers win the division. Maybe Harbaugh gets them somewhere.
Harbaugh is the biggest cripple to Justin Herbert's career.
Because you think that he just wants to run the ball?
They want to run the ball. They don't. Like, I barely could put Justin Herbert in the top 10 because I haven't seen, or I know moving forward, we will not see what Justin Herbert's capable of. Again, going back to the system, Grant, system matters. If you stick Justin Herbert in, what's a bombs away offense? Stick him with Cincinnati. Stick him with Sean McVay. Stick him in LA. Like bombs away. Like he's going to shine. I mean, he is in LA, but stick him on the other team in LA. He bombs away like he's gonna shine. And I know that, but I can't put him that low or that high, knowing that he's in a situation where they're just gonna run the football. Also, I don't think he's gonna have a lot of playoff success because I know running the football and defense wins. I know that, but you have to be able to throw the ball in the playoffs to win football games. You cannot make it through the playoffs without throwing the football. And when you just don't rely on it and then you get in these situations where you need to do it, he's not going to be as effective because they just don't do it all season.
Well, they did draft Trey Harris in the second round. So Lad McConkey, Trey Harris, they're kind of building their receiver core. Maybe he lets them open it up.
He won't. That's not how they play. That's not how they play, but that's okay. Okay. So Matthew Stafford, that was number 6, number 7, Grant. So I had Herbert
Stafford 6, Stafford 7.
Okay. Number 7. Easy option here. Baker Mayfield. Dog.
Okay.
And Baker, honestly, if we're talking about situations and we're talking about Baker's probably the most talented quarterback on this list. You know why?
What?
You can make the argument that Baker is by far the most talented quarterback on this list because Baker has been in bad situation time and time again, and it has not caused him to ruin his NFL career, and he is back to a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL.
I mean, I don't think that makes him talented. I think it makes him resilient.
Resilient and talented. Because a lot of quarterbacks
he was a 2-time walk-on. This is kind of what he does.
He's a dog. So, like, if you're going off the dog ratings, he's number 1 on this list by far.
He is. I saw just it's one of those like unexpected TikTok edits where you have no clue what's coming, and it ended up being a clip of a Baker Mayfield stiff arm on a defensive end, and then he gets up yelling at him. He's like, "You big fat bitch!" You know what I'm talking about?
Like, I don't think there's a quarterback on this list that I would want more on my team from a personality and a vibe standpoint than Baker Mayfield. And
I fully believe that.
Yeah, wouldn't you agree though?
I mean, I would rather have Mahomes, but
yeah. Okay, but okay, put them all even. All right, so take all 10 of our quarterbacks and make their talent even. What quarterback would you want on your team?
Yeah, personality-wise, I would take Baker.
Baker, like no doubt about it. Like the Buccaneers are so lucky to have this man as their quarterback because he's just a dog. Okay, so we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We're at 8.
8. Okay, Jayden Daniels is my 8th. Who was your 7th? Didn't you go through 7? Oh, you had yours.
Yeah, I had Herbert 6, Stafford 7. My number 8 is CJ Stroud, and this is the thing with CJ Stroud. That offensive line just fell apart last year. They couldn't block anybody. He lost his top 3 receivers to injuries. And even they still won a playoff game despite all of that. So I saw what Stroud could be as a rookie, and it still wasn't a great situation. But he still was. At that point, we were saying, is this the best rookie quarterback season ever? Now, Jayden Daniels usurped that, but we were looking at CJ Stroud as potentially a top 5 quarterback. He had the phenomenal year. I'm not going to judge him too harshly because his offensive line couldn't protect him, and he lost his top 3 targets, and he still had solid productivity and won a playoff game.
I mean, he plays in the AFC South. That is the worst division in football.
Okay, but like you were just talking about situations, and
he's in a good situation. He's in a fantastic situation.
Because so then you can't fault him for taking advantage of it.
No, I agree. He won a playoff game, but the drop off from year 1 to year 2, just even in his individual play, was so high that it's really hard to put him back in the top 10. He can get there. He's got top 10 talent for me. I just can't do it because the consistency hasn't been there. So he can take Jayden Daniels' spot if Jayden Daniels drops off this year.
Okay, but how do you fault him because his top 3 receivers got injured and his offensive line couldn't block?
I'm not faulting him at all.
But you dropped last year. You would have had him in the top 10, I assume. Now he's not there.
For sure. But like, you should make the playoffs. You play in a bad division.
They won a playoff game.
You should. You play in a bad division. You get a home playoff game when you play in a bad division. That's just what I'm saying.
I see it differently than you.
All right. So
you said Jayden's your number 8? Okay.
Jayden's my number 8. Then I will go Justin Herbert at number 9. I would love to put Herbert higher. I think his skill set puts him higher, but I can't do it because he plays for Harbaugh.
This is where I have Jalen Hurts, and
That's
I think he clearly throws the football worse than everybody else that's above him, and even in consideration here. But just what he does almost spiritually for that team, even though he's not asked to carry a large load. When he is asked to perform, he usually steps up to the plate, and he's been brilliant in the Super Bowls. That's why I've got him there at number 9. Even though, like, if we're just drafting players and we're lining up to go play a game out on the playground, Hurts is probably my last pick out of all these players because he's not what they are, but he does do his job very well.
Yeah, good system. System matters. That's how you can rank these quarterbacks, just off the system they're in. My 10th, this is a tough one. It's down between two people, and we'll save the win totals for next time, guys. We'll save those, so make sure you tune in. We'll do double win totals on Friday, but I'm going to go with Dak Prescott.
Okay.
It was between Tua and Dak for me for the 10th.
Okay. I've got 4 guys in the mix here. I've got Baker, I've got Tua, I've got Dak, and I've got Geno Smith as well. Those are the guys in the mix here.
That's so disrespectful to Baker Mayfield. That is.
I ended up going with Baker as my number 10. He's had one great season, we'll say, in which he didn't win a playoff game. He's also playing in a very pass-happy offense that was set up very well by Liam Cohen with outstanding receiving weapons. I mean, the team, they had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and they still went and got Sterling Shepard and Jalen McMillan, and they're still drafting Emeka Egbuka. So it's a great situation. He made the best of it last year. Still didn't win the playoff game as a home favorite. And above all else, I just kind of want to see some consistency. Like, even though Baker did put up the big numbers and he is a dog, there's still the rough edges. There's still the untimely interceptions. He put the ball on the ground and fumbled it in the playoff game last year. So I think 10th is a good spot for him, and he definitely has potential to move up.
Yes, I 100% should have won that playoff game. Number one, they gave the Commanders the toughest fight besides the Eagles, obviously, but that was a game that the Commanders could have lost pretty easily.
Yeah.
I think Baker, coming into the situation in 24, he was good enough to win. He did win a playoff game in 23, actually. He beat the Eagles in the playoffs in 23.
And he also won a playoff game with the Browns in his second year, I believe.
Yep, the beer got unlocked there. He, realistically, not saying they would have won this game, but the divisional round against the Lions in 23, they were competitive in that football game. They covered late, but they were competitive.
The Buccaneers, didn't they beat the Lions in like week 2 or week 3 last year?
No, I think they've struggled with the Lions.
No, yeah, they beat them in week 2.
Really?
Yeah, 20-16 in Detroit.
Yeah, because at that point, people were saying like the Bucs were a contender because the NFC was going to run through Detroit, and they've beaten them and they've played them well on the road. Yeah, Grant, I think the fact that your list of your 4 players, like, there's no, you shouldn't even have an honorable mention. Baker Mayfield is the guy. For me, the way I set it up, without CJ Stroud in there, it's hard to put CJ Stroud in for me. But for you, your bottom 4 guys, like, Baker's the best of that group by far.
Yeah, honorable mentions: Geno, Dak, Tua. If I were ranking them, I would go. It's tough because it's kind of like what I was saying with Jayden. Like, he hasn't given me the opportunity to see him disappoint me. I feel that way with Geno because he's had horrible offensive lines and I haven't seen him in the playoffs, so he hasn't given me the chance to disappoint me. Versus with Dak has had a higher peak. Dak was second in MVP voting 2 years ago, but he's also been awful in the playoffs. I'll go Dak, Geno, Tua in that order.
I like that. I think that's fair. Good list. Good debate.
We had all of our top 10 was the same. We had all the same players except for I had Stroud and you had who?
Dak.
Oh yeah, Dak's my honorable mention. Okay.
Yeah. So we're all in the same area, but system matters. That's what I walk away from this. I guarantee
my list is better.
No, my list is, you had Baker at 10. That's insane. Baker's better than Jayden. He's better than Justin. Baker's definitely better than Justin Herbert. He's done more. What, like, that's the thing. That's why the top 10 is so great, because you can rank them off what they've done, where they play at, just talent alone. Yeah, if I'm taking guys out in the field in shorts and t-shirts, yeah, I'm going to put Justin Herbert a lot higher than number 9. You know, so that's what it comes down to. When I want a dog, I'm going to put Baker number 1.
No, I get that. There's a ton of ways to go with it. Like, should I ever put Jayden Daniels ahead of Matthew Stafford, given Stafford's played almost 20 years and won a Super Bowl? No, but it's a matter of, do you wait what he did 10 years ago more, or do you wait only what you just saw more?
Yeah, and for me, like, if I'm drafting a team right now to go play in the NFL, I'm probably still going to draft Matthew Stafford above Jayden Daniels. If I'm drafting a team for the next 10 years, I'm going to take Jayden Daniels, not Matthew Stafford. There's a lot of ways to cook it up.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyways, that was Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We'll do win totals on Friday.
Yeah, this ended up going a little bit long.
Yeah, because Grant doesn't realize that dog matters and system matters. Take us out of here, Grant.
Guys, if you did enjoy that episode, then please go down to the bottom of the screen here. And if you got that dog and you hit the subscribe button, also hit the like button as well. Jump in the comments. Let us know who had the better list. Who do you agree with more? Who are we too high on? Who are we too low on? We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.